You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
A young man from a small Kansas town was part of one of the first units to storm the beach of Normandy on D-Day back in 1944. His son is sharing the story Friday at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library. Local history librarian Katie Keckeisen is here with a preview. Welcome to you.
Thank you for having me.
Such a special story this is. Who wrote it? What's it called? And kind of what's the history?
Yeah, so the memoir was written by Charles Neighbor, who was a member of the 29th Infantry Division, 116th Regiment during World War II. He wrote it later on in life. He said as good that it was a form of therapy to get it all out there, to kind of remember both the harrowing aspects as well as the just kind of mundane day-to-day, things that would go on. And so he wrote this book. It's called One Man's War Story. And then he passed sadly in 2022, but his son, Chad, is going to be sharing some of his father's stories with us on Friday.
So Mr. Neighbor was from Iola, Kansas, correct? And then when he came back from the war, what did he do?
So then he went on to get his degree in mechanical engineering and, got a job and, married, had a family, and just kind of, tried to get back into everyday life, but just like a lot of people, my grandfather included, just kind of had this, need to tell his story, to feel, to kind of reconnect with some of that, to process some of that.
Are we seeing more of these first-person accounts, or when did he write the book to begin with?
Yeah, he wrote it in the early mid-2000s.
So some time had passed before he decided to share the story.
And so there was a little bit of a lag there, but it's interesting to hear the stories about him. Again, one of the first regiments to storm the Normandy beaches, and all the fighting in Saint-Lô and getting
he was wounded.
Yeah, he was wounded twice, and then just kept going back in. But the fact that it's like there was also these everyday kind of things, just joking with your comrades, and having to clear different areas, and you don't think of those just kind of days where it actually was kind of boring.
So, the book obviously made an impression on you.
Yes, it did.
His son Chad keeps the story alive. How does Chad share the story?
So he's going to be sharing stories through primary sources that his dad kept over the years, letters back home, diary entries, and then the stories he told in the book as well.
So this is a little bit different than simply reading passages of the book, though.
Exactly. So he'll be really sharing kind of some of those day of, or just right in the trenches, as it were, memories of his dad, as he was writing back home, but also then sharing kind of, his writings in hindsight later on.
Does it help him make more sense of maybe some of the things he experienced growing up? Because, World War II veterans kind of kept things very close to the vest.
And it sounds like that was the case. It was kind of therapeutic for both, Charles and for his family to, write this out and to get these memories down on paper.
Well, so formative, because you note that Charles Neighbor it was just after his 18th birthday that he was drafted.
Yeah.
So very young, coming of age in a war zone, in a war.
In a war, and he was drafted. He'd only completed his freshman year at Emporia State when he was drafted. He was a kid from a farm town. He didn't have that much, nobody did. Nobody had that much, war experience. He was trained to actually operate a flamethrower, and during the D-Day invasion was tasked with carrying a fuel tank. And then when his comrade that was carrying the flamethrower went down, he had to try and take it up and use it. And he said, I spent 4 months training with this thing and it wouldn't light, so I never used it once.
Well, you can hear more when you hear about One Man's War Story, a Kansas boy at Normandy. Chad Neighbor sharing his father's story Friday, September 5th. The time is 5:30. So this Friday at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library, another free program for you all to enjoy. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glad you could be along with us today as well. Stay tuned. Investigate TV Plus is coming up next.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports at WIBW.com. Thank you for watching 13 News, winner of the National Association of Broadcasters Leadership Foundation Celebration of Service.